Sonia Aima is a public accountability officer at the Institute for Social Accountability. She's here alongside Helen Mudora, who's a civic education manager at Uraia Trust. Sonia, good morning.
Good morning.
And Helen, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Kenya. How do you travel to Shags?
I have two shags. I don't know what is the plural?
Shagses.
Yes. So there's one in Kisii, and in Kisii I take 5 hours to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, we don't.
If my mahio has an issue,
yes,
7 hours.
7 hours.
Okay.
So your question would have actually been directed to
for you.
Yes.
These people will fly.
And then the other shags is in Nyeri, which is a short drive. Yes.
Sawa. Karibuni sana.
Asante.
You are here so that we talk about good governance and corruption and how those two mix, like oil and water. Right? Karibuni sana.
Asante.
So Siti will welcome you with the day's proverb. And then he will then also reward you after you've done what? You've interpreted the proverb. Sawa?
Yes.
This week we're in which African country?
This is the final day of our visit to the People's Republic of Mozambique. And this is the final proverb for the week. There are no shortcuts to the top of a palm tree.
There are no shortcuts to the top of a palm tree. Sonia?
Ain't that all what we are trying to do as Kenyans? But anyway, let's stick to the
shortcuts.
We are always trying to find shortcuts to our vision.
That's why this was not a Kenyan proverb.
But just to interpret is that my interpretation is you have to take the route as it is. For you to get to the top, either you find those things that Mnazi people in coast try to use to panda the Mnazi, to find your way how to balance. And then with time, you start moving without struggle. Yeah. So that's my interpretation.
It's a good one. Helen?
I think it speaks to the roads that are very difficult to take. And so we cannot take a shortcut, even though I look at the way the palm tree looks like. You have to slide. You have to learn how to go up and slide back coming down.
Yeah.
It takes also a lot of practice to do it, or probably you've been born there, so you know how to do it. So how do we internalize doing the hard job without taking shortcuts?
Nice one. Siti, what do you say?
Actually, they've interpreted it very, very well. And now that you mention it, if it had been a Kenyan proverb, it would probably have read, there are very many shortcuts to the top of a palm tree.
Which one will you take?
Like uprooting uproot the trees.
Let me just call someone, cut down the tree. I get to the top.
Oh, eat a mango instead.
Yeah, you don't have to take the trouble.
Now, I know we've had conversations, of course, with TISA and with Uraia, and we know the work that you do. Okay? But when it comes to matters of corruption and engaging the public on corruption, I think both of you engage the citizens on matters of good governance and corruption, right? Yeah. But I want to start with, from TISA's perspective, what do you do? How do you engage the public to discuss corruption and good governance? How do you do it? Do you just hold barazas?
No. Barazas are part of it, but we seek to go beyond barazas. So what we do normally, and I will even give reference to the new upcoming third edition of the Citizen Assembly that we have next week in Kisumu. What we do is identify issues within that place. At the bottom of everything is a governance problem, especially Kenya. So once we identify the issues within that place, we connect it to our TISA main agenda, which would be public debt or corruption or access to information. Then bring back this conversation to these issues. Then discuss as citizens where we are. We have identified the issues together, right? So what is the plan? What do we want? So some of the times the first question is, when you look at your situation now and then look beyond, what does change look like for you? So that we start working out something that gets us to the change. So at some point someone will say, okay, it's me getting to the hospital and finding the drugs after I have paid for my NHIF. Currently, Taifa Care, something of the sort. So how do we get there? This person, most times, especially if you go to the grassroots level, they don't understand the connection. So you have to start breaking it down.
Don't understand the connection between what and what?
My payment of the NHIF and my right to getting
To
the
access
drugs.
the service.
Yes. So you have to break it down. Let me tie it now to corruption. If there was money that was allocated to go to this specific healthcare kitty, and then the money is not used as it should, and sometimes they actually buy the drugs. I will give reference to community issues that I get to here. They buy the drugs. The lorry gets to the facility, and the PR show begins. We have brought a whole lorry of da-da-da-da-da, and they remove the drugs out there. But the hospital in charge or the dispensary in charge will tell you not all of that gets out. Immediately the PR is done, half inarudi.
Lori inafungwa.
Yes, munapewa kidogo. So it's trying to bring it to that level and yaone, okay, then this is why I'm suffering. Then now, once they get that picture, then we start working on what is the plan. First is to build the capacity to understand beyond that small scenario that I have built. Then after that, they start acting. We'll give an example again. As TISA, we work with different counties through umbrellas of CSOs, civil society and CBOs, so that they're able to lead the action that happens at ground level. So you get people who, once we have gone through these capacity building sessions, they go ahead and do the barazas themselves. But aside from doing that to spread the information beyond them, there's also these little actions that they take. Case in point, in Nandi, we had one of our CBO leads, founder of an organization called Smart Key. He went ahead, he was supporting the MP to take this, what do we call them? It was Nalipa school fees, bursaries. He was accompanying the MP to distribute the bursaries. They get to a bridge that has constantly had issues. It's impassable. But you know, our MPs are accompanied with very big cars. So how is it, Peter? They're stuck. And then he tells them, this is why I accompanied you, so that you see the issues your people are dealing with. And immediately the guy, the MP, calls the contractor, and he comes in, tandikas the maram, and they pass.
In order for the MP to pass?
Exactly.
Okay.
While it has sorted the MP's issue, kidogo it has sorted the citizens' issue, but it's not permanent. But then these are actions that they're taking, bit, and eventually it gets to a place where it encourages people to start taking actions. So that's what we see as TISA. We want people to get to the level, they lead the actions of citizen or social accountability. Yeah.
Helen, is it that really the citizens don't see the connection? That we don't see the connection of the reason why I cannot walk to my dispensary and actually get all the services that I need is because somebody has not done the job that they ought to have done, or somebody has stolen the drugs or the supplies?
Okay, let me first say that at Uraia, we look at an empowered, engaged, and value-based citizen. So empowerment starts with civic education.
Unempowered or unempowered?
An as in mtu mwenye ako empowered.
Okay. Okay.
And engaged and value-based. So when their empowerment comes from having information, if they have the information, then we work with other organizations to support them to get engaged. At the local level, we have about, every year we have about 30 organizations, mashinani. So if you are in Kilifi, there's an organization in Kilifi. So they know the Kilifi County, they know the governor, they know the CCs. They know when the budget is being made, when the plans are being made, when the implementation is taking place. So the citizen then is supported to develop a memorandum if something is wrong, and then they can take to the governor's office. I think if you look at the Kenyan citizen, I think we are just aloof. She's talking about making the connection, but I think we are just aloof. We are so used to trouble and problems that we don't realize that you put in a government so that they can deliver a service. We always think it's a favor they are doing us. So when it is not there, we will not even question, because we move on. If you are told just go to the chemist across the road to buy the drugs, you will simply go to buy the drugs.
But we will be complaining.
Yes.
Of course.
We will talk about Kinuna.
But you'll still go.
But you'll still go.
Yes.
Okay.
So that connection is that you don't take the step to ask, but why don't we have the drugs? Or sometimes we are not empowered enough to think that we have a voice that we can question. If you go to a level 4, 5 hospital, and when mwananchi wa kawaida umekuja kupata service, how do you start questioning some of these things? So that voice is very important. We have to build that voice.
How do you question though? And I think it could be a latent fear for many people to say that maybe it's just there in your head that okay, this is wrong. Come on, we know at some very basic level that when you buy food, when you basically step out of your house and you breathe, you pay taxes in this country. Okay, and for that matter. So there's an understanding, at least minimally, that somebody bears a responsibility for getting certain things done. Maybe it's forgotten along the way when the politics of the day, comes out to play, and then you think that this is the person that you worship.
Yes.
But later, I think it just plays in the back of your head that this person is actually supposed to be working for the betterment of the country. And so then you met with fear sometimes, because you say, how then do I start asking this person to do what they're supposed to do?
And they actually know what they need to do.
So how do you actually begin? Because I think it is a very real situation for many people.
Yeah, it's a real fear.
Yeah.
A lot of times in Kenya, when you question, unapiga. For example, if it is at county level, you are the people who are opposing the governor. If it's at national level, if you are questioning, you're already the people who are, against the president. Or
he says you complain about everything.
Everything. Yeah. So you have to build that voice. They need the information. They need to know. People need to know that we are paying taxes and we need good services. People need to know that, for example, the Constitution in a number of places says we must have public participation. And so we must also be available to participate. We don't participate. I think Uraia in so many years has tried. We do civic education. We have 340 civic educators on the ground who educate people on different public issues. But pushing people to participate, people find that a very big problem.
Why?
I was in Nyamira last year, and we had just gone to see how our civic educators, are doing the work. And so after having the session with the citizens, they are telling us, now, madam, nafikiri hiyo memo, nafikiri ni wewe utatupelekea kwa governor. I ask them why, but he's your governor. And it's obvious there's an issue. There's an issue. I think there was a road that was supposed to go to a certain hospital, but it has either been taken up by someone, so you cannot get to that hospital. You have to use a very long road to get to that hospital. A very simple and straightforward thing like that. I think their fear is they will be targeted. They will be told that they are opposing the governor, and anything else can happen.
And if they're targeted, what will happen?
They can get killed.
They can be killed.
Yes.
Okay.
They can be abducted. They can get killed.
But how many people who've opposed the governor or have seen to be questioning actually end up dying?
Not many.
So where is the fear coming from, really?
So we could actually say it's a fear that shouldn't even be there in the first place.
Where do you think it comes from? Because it exists.
Yeah.
I actually think it's the fear of being the not many. Because we are saying how many, not the fear of standing out, but the fear of out of the 1% that get lost or abducted, you fear being in the 1%. While in the real sense, when we say it's a fear that should not exist, it's the truth. But again, that uko nyuma too, it can happen. It can happen. today, when I was coming here, the cab guy asked me a question. Unaenda kufanya nini? Then I said, we are going to discuss about good governance and corruption. And he laughed so loudly. That's why I said, I need to take you to the Mashinani so that you get to hear those stories. And he told me, please, you go and say a bad thing, but just know utafika home. But you see, I was like, why are you saying that? I'm not going to say any bad thing that's not backed up with evidence. If I say our percentage of money is lost on corruption, is that a lie? It's not.
In this era that we're living in, you can say the things we are saying now. In an era when I was around your age, you didn't dare. Because you would definitely, you won't get killed, but you'll definitely get arrested. And then you'll be thumped like a snake. You will not end up as the same person who was arrested. But the point is this. What is it that the citizenry of this particular country face on a daily basis? What do they confront when they look at the government services that are their right? What do they receive instead?
What they receive.
Yes, what do they experience?
It's bad, everything. I think when I wake up in the morning, I'm praying no one gets sick because I know that it won't come back. I'll have to use a lot of money despite paying all those things. So when I look at the person who is in Madare, what do they deal with? It's sharing your issues and it's not dealt with. Like every day you wake up and complain and echo the issues that you're dealing with. If it's in health, if it's in education, my son has to walk a longer distance to get something that's a basic right. But no one seems to care. So when he asked, I think you did did ask, how do we build the voice? And she answered with giving information.
And empowered.
Engaged.
And
value-based.
And value-based.
Yes, but remember the people you are talking to. This is really what I'm getting at. When people go through what the citizens of this country go through, and they voice it because they tell you, we want this. The protests were about, and there were specific issues. We don't want this, we don't want this, we don't want this. We want this specific. When you undergo all these events, you actually end up being traumatized. You may not think so, but you are. Now, what trauma does to you, it affects your thinking, it affects your emotions, and it affects your decision-making process. I'm going to the fear that we're talking about. So, and then part of it is also passed down by my generation because of what we experienced. So those who fall in the category of our children or younger, we're telling you, no, you shouldn't say things about the government, you know, whatever. So we voice it, but the truth of the matter is you're voicing it to a mind that has actually already been traumatized. So you heighten that problem that we have. And why then? So people feel it is better to just keep in my little corner and not talk too much and not make too much noise. Yes, and I'll be fine. Okay? But I shouldn't cause any ripples.
Not disturbing anybody.
No, I will not. So people want the need. They want the need for change. I'm saying this deliberately. And that's why they'll attend your meeting and then they will come. Within that meeting, they may even say some things. And there'll be people who want to speak out. They probably told, wait, wacha kuongea hiyo mambo yako. The truth is this. When your thinking has been influenced by the trauma, people don't think it's trauma. It is trauma.
Yeah.
When you read about people who have disappeared, have been abducted, and we don't know where they are, you're reading it. Or it affects you. You may think it doesn't, but it does.
Yes.
When you hear of situations where young people are protesting, ordinary, they've disappeared, found dead, some shot, you feel, goodness gracious me. What is this? All these things, then every day you read, a woman was killed, women were found in quarry. All these things on a daily basis will affect you.
True.
So when it comes to someone thinking or believing that there'll be change, they'll tell you, no.
I see it though in different, I layer it.
Yes.
So there's the fear of engaging at a national level. And I wonder why that fear would translate to engaging at a local level. Local level, where we're talking about local school. We see people actually taking action about local school, local health facilities. So this is an example that you're giving us. It was a very local. People came together and actually voiced their issues.
Yes.
But when it comes to who is going to bail the cat.
Yes.
That's where
Nobody's
madam
stepped up.
sasa wewe utafanya hivi.
The face.
Wewe acha tukupatie wewe upeleke.
When unaweza.
Yeah. Talking about the nexus between good governance, corruption, or where the disconnect is. What is this about good governance and corruption? And we are joined this morning by two ladies. Helen Mudora is a civic education manager at Uraia Trust, and Sonia Aima is a public accountability officer at the Institute for Social Accountability. Impunity is one word that has come in. You know, whenever you talk about corruption, talk about the culture of impunity, which is what? Which is people just doing it because utadu. And the utadu is because nothing has been done to the others who've done it before, like them. And nothing has been done, like now we were saying before the break, is coming because citizen agency sort of missing.
Right.
There's people are timid and not, they can see something is wrong, they can identify what's right, what's wrong, but they're just like, okay, just want to continue living despite the government. As when Jiro Gikonyo once told us, people live in this country, we live despite the government. I live my day, I live my life. If I find the government has done something, okay. If it doesn't,
Well and good.
I continue with my life. And that's what you're saying, Sonia, that's the work that TISA is now trying to do, to bring that engagement, to point citizens towards agency. An engaged, empowered, value-based citizen. But you have got to understand why. Why are people so disempowered at that local level? Why is it that people would fear sending a memorandum to a governor? And yet you have sat down and you've enumerated, these are the issues that we have. And we want the governor to take care of this, and the other. But you do not want to take it to the governor. And yet tomorrow, if the governor wants to come and do whatever politics, we will all be there. Why, Helen?
I think we have mixed politics. Politics seems to politics is not a bad thing, but it seems to drive even our access to services. So citizens feel like if I voted for a particular person, I should not be seen to be challenging his authority or going against what they are doing for us. Already, I said we take services. Yeye ndio mkubwa, and we take services like a favor. We always think it's a favor they are doing us. I don't know why in Kenya we got to this point where we adore our leaders. You know, there's a difference between respect.
Do we actually adore our leaders?
Fear. Is it?
I mean, I'm just asking.
Just when a Prado just comes in, what do? We all run there. We want to bow down.
Yeah, but that no, that is not adoration.
That's extortion.
Yes,
it's extortion. if you flip it,
it's desperation.
Yes, if you flip it,
it's desperation, because that Prado represents wealth.
Yes,
it represents power.
Yes.
So, but the question is, how did you get to a point where our own we are now, as you say, let's use the word adoring and worshipping our servants. We are the ones who've given them this job. We're the ones who pay them.
Yes.
And yet we are beholden to them instead of it being the other way around.
The other way around. Yes. Yeah. So you see, the Constitution and even the County Government Act, for example, provides for where the county should come mashinani and listen to the people when they are doing their 5-year strategy, when they are doing their annual plan, when they are doing their budgets. They should come down to the people. But what do? Because they want, the public participation has been felt like it is not it's not genuine, because they want, at the end of the day, the executive wants to do what they want to do. So they will do some form of public participation, probably call for a meeting at the highest town of the county where many people can't get there. Sometimes they deliberately twist. Like if a meeting had been advertised, it will be here at 8 a.m. in the morning. What they do deliberately, they will go at 8 to the other sub-county, and then in the afternoon, they will do the opposite. So these guys will have come here in the morning, nobody shows up. They go. When they come in the afternoon, they say nobody was there.
Yeah.
And then what they have will pass. So the whole aspect of access to this information, what is in the budget, what is it need for us, it's like they always have to have in most cases, civil society players who analyze what the county is giving and what the county is doing and bringing that information to the citizen. In the absence of that, the citizen is totally unaware.
It sounds like an unending cycle because it doesn't matter what you do. There's somebody who's trying to make sure that you remain unaware as a citizen.
Yeah, it's
because
like deliberate.
With the knowledge, essentially, I mean, it's so cliche, but it's true. Because with the knowledge comes power, and that power then is transient and can be used to essentially knock you off your position.
Yes.
And so it's at your advantage if this person or this group of people does not know and also does not know how.
Yes, you're right, but consider how we respond to all this. We feel that by complaining, we've participated.
Yeah, you can, make noise about it and you feel like you've done something.
Helen comes along and we talk to Helen and we vent, we've participated, and that's it.
I get where you are at.
Yeah.
But I believe as civil society actors, and maybe speak about what we do at TISA, we want to get us beyond that.
Have you got... Okay, TISA has been around for some time. And you've actually opened that door, so let's walk through it. Yes, you gather information from people is a method that you use. You can tell us about it. But do you also get information regarding changes that have come about as a result of the interventions that you've had? For instance, from Helen's perspective, these people didn't want to go to the governor. When you come back after 3 months, they say, actually, we went to the governor.
Yes.
Yes.
And as you can see, we're still alive.
Yes.
Okay? Do you get such situations?
We really do. And one is the one I spoke about in Nandi. But we also have those ones in Homa Bay where they go and petition the county assembly for purposes of access to information. These are county documents that need to be on the website. So early on in February, we were doing a specific engagement that sought to enlighten people about the budget documents that you need to know and where you can find them. So that happened. And then from the meetings, we got the civil society. Now we are also back to the agency so that I tied together. People are scared of going as an individual. So as TISA, we're also working towards building movements that will allow people to got some safety, like a safety net for people. And then we also have numbers that can speak to the same issue, different sides within the county. So in our network in Homa Bay, once we did the training, they wrote the petition, submitted it. This was to push for access to information so that they're able to do their social accountability initiatives based on what they find. So after that, the petition they wrote, I think 2 days to when they were summoned, the documents were uploaded. So in a nutshell, we are able to get to a point where now there is the information. So when another issue comes that we cannot use this information, then we again work together to see how best do we identify the issues that are budget related, because at least that is evidence based.
Yes.
If we were to tengeneza a gate for a market, we know where the money was coming from. Do we have the gate? Let's start from the simple one. Is the gate available? If it's there, then we go beyond. Is it of the amount that was indicated there?
But the connection again, are our citizens able to connect their problems, which are legion, with the representation or the misrepresentation that they are afforded by people they have elected? Can they connect the two?
Sometimes for those who are enlightened, as you say, they can. But for I don't want to use common, I don't like that word.
You said the grassroots.
The grassroots. The grassroots, who is in Baringo that we cannot reach. That direct link might not really be there fully. So as we come, we try and say, let me speak about public debt and how we try and bring this conversation to the mwananchi at grassroots level. This person will hear public debt at when you guys are speaking and they're like, what is that big animal? The same way we used to think of corruption when we didn't have devolution. Now we have change. A feel because we are hearing everyone saying devolution brought devolved corruption, then now we are interested. But when you speak about public debt, it's how does it affect me who is in a Kibanda in Vihiga County? So while you don't have an interest in that, but look at it from, it's because of public debt that we are paying so much out, we are left with very little. And then since the little cannot feed us or provide the services that we need to have, then the government or your county government increases the levies. So I pay more taxes. So then that's a pain point for that person, as opposed to when we say public debt. So we start the conversation hapa.
But there's no, you haven't tied it up yet. They still don't understand. And I'm going to explain to you why I'm saying what I'm saying. What you're saying is logical. It makes sense. You see, we are still divorced from the problem in this sense. It is someone else who's causing a problem.
Not me.
Me, who happily bribes a policeman, I don't have a problem.
I'm good.
Because I don't steal. Me, who bribes the teacher to be able to
teach my child.
To ensure that we have stolen exams so that my child passes. I mean that what I'm doing is for my child's benefit, so there's really nothing that is wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
Me, who wants my cousin employed, and I am willing to take a loan to bribe somebody, so that I am actually doing nothing wrong. Okay? Because I'm not those people who steal billions from the government.
Yes, it's small money.
Yeah, precisely, because that participation speaks of how we think.
Yes.
And it also speaks of how we tolerate corruption. Because there's a causal effect. It can't be that I know, because it's not that you don't know you're doing wrong. You do know.
Yes.
But because there's a consensus that this is now normalized, it doesn't make it right because it has been normalized.
Yes, that I agree. And also, just to answer, and then Helen can come in. At TISA, with this picture that you have painted, we are trying to do a study that is going to touch on that. It's called the culture and psychology of social accountability. Just trying to look at what is it that pushes me to engage the way I engage, still knowing that I am also part of the perpetrators of this corruption and bad tabias generally.
I like what you're bringing in, that we look inward to ourselves, that corruption is not necessarily about public officials. What about us as citizens? It also has to start with us, and you can see when we are talking about value-based citizen, is the citizen who knows what is right. You always do what is right regardless of whether somebody is watching or not. Issues of the values that are in the Constitution. Over and over again, the Constitution has talked about the principles that underpin the Constitution, issues of integrity, accountability, transparency. Accountability, not necessarily, we always hold the government to account, but sometimes we don't hold ourselves to accountable. And I think that's what you are bringing, that the citizen, we have to even change the citizen's mind, that we have also to show the citizens they also have a role to be accountable and to have integrity. And the issue of linking their problems with the people they choose. They get 50 shillings during every election year. 50 bob. If you divide it with how many days?
With 5 years times
5 years. We always tell them it's not even a cent. It's not even worth it. And this person has probably gotten the money somewhere to come and bribe you. Then when they get in, they have to get their money back fast. So it becomes a cycle. I look at a time when Kenyans, we can just know that this Eric is a good leader, whether he has money or not. We take away the money element from leadership. So that we put in the right leaders.
How do you get that? I mean, you've been on the ground for long as a Uraia Trust. TISA, you've been championing this. Is the needle moving?
It can move.
Is it?
Okay. In one way, there's the issue of the campaign financing, the law on campaign financing. That has been put on hold for so many years, so we don't regulate how much people can spend when they are doing a campaign. Listen to the numbers. Yep. I mean, listen to the numbers that you need how many billions to...
Madness.
Helen, the people who are supposed to ensure that law works will never ever allow it.
So we must have a different model. And I like what the Gen Z did like Uraia, we've been telling people, please get out, participate, demand. It has never worked. But you saw with the Gen Z, the demand was so strong. The demand was so strong. It was
hawajaienda airport. How Gen Z?
And we actually saw we saw the government responding. We saw even governors retracting their finance bills because they knew they wanamulikwa. So I see the Gen Z bringing in a new model. If they can back some of the people they believe in, then I think it will work. We forget about the money, but we look for the leaders that we know that can deliver. Whether they have this money to campaign or not, they are the people that we should put in power. Yeah.
And maybe Latiff, is the needle moving? Yes, in bits and pieces.
Okay.
But the only challenge comes in when it moves, and then it touches your person, then the conversation changes.
You push it back.
Like the society forgets that what you were pushing for was actually to their benefit. So we see the healthcare issues right now. Very many hospitals are literally struggling.
Yeah.
And you see people we have someone in Vihiga who constantly goes to just take videos of the situation in the hospital.
Yeah.
But you see, this person does not have the backing to go beyond. He writes letters to the county assembly. This is the picture. They will write back, even the health department. No, this is not the picture.
Do you know what you're fighting? Do you know how easy it is for human beings to get used to even the worst possible situations?
The mental thing.
You just get yes, that's all right. You see, once your mind has gone to a certain stage, you are looking for things which offer you least resistance. If this rock,
it's too hard.
Yeah, you look for another rock, okay? But it's still a rock.
You choose your devil.
Yes. You don't realize that you can actually remove that rock, and once that rock is gone, it's easy for you to pass through.
But I guess it'll take just one thing, one moment to move something, and it will not claw back.
Yes.
Right now, we keep saying that we are not going to claw back to the dark old days of it's because we moved out of that. So even now, we shall move out of these dark old days of evil spirits.
Call them evil spirits.
We shall move out of this dark old days.
And to answer your question, this conversation we're having here is the evidence that the needle moved.
Yes.
There was a time you have this information. There are vehicles waiting for you to help you with some
to move you. Well, ladies, thank you very much for joining us.
Okay.
It's an interesting conversation. Helen Mudora, Civic Education Manager at Uraia Trust, and Sonia Aima, Public Accountability Officer at TISA.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start